Crypto Hotep here with another budgeting video. Guys, if you are unfamiliar with my channel, please feel free to like, subscribe, comment. And this is a new series that we'll be going through. It's more on the budgeting side of the house because I feel as though budgeting is a good foundation for any investing strategy. Because if you don't know how your money's coming in and going out, and you think you have more money than you should, and at the end of the month you have more month but no more money, then you can get wrecked. So I'm doing these series just to keep myself honest with our family budget, to go over the budget, and then just to show kind of how that looks like as me and my family try to get to that financial freedom point, and discuss ways that we're doing it as well. So if you guys have any thoughts, any criticisms, critiques, any ideas with our budget, feel free to comment, let me know. But by no means, I'm not a financial coach. I'm not a financial advisor. This is just something that has worked for me and my family, where we were able to pay off debt, increase our investing and savings rate, and it's been working well so far. So if you are, let me just bring this over here. If this is your first time watching the video, go to the budgeting playlist, which is called Survive and Thrive. And this is where we kind of go over these two slides here and just kind of giving the breakdown. So from the last time that we spoke, a couple things have changed just a little bit. So obviously we're still a family of 5 with one child grown out of the house. We still operate off one income. That income is made out of a salary, a variable income, and then we are doing side gig work such as like DoorDash and Prolific, for the interviews and research and surveys and those type of things. We are operating off a budget percentage. So 90% for salary goes to wants and needs, 10% goes to saving and investing. And then that variable income, or that quote unquote bonus or commission, that's when we amp up our savings rate to make up for it. Okay, at 55-40, and then 5% to pay a little bit of debt down, extra debt on top of what we normally pay, and then 50, 45, and 5, still keeping that 5%. Now, one thing that I did add from the last time we spoke is I added this piece. So I added another percentage in case the month prior we had to tap into, say, our emergency fund for whatever reason, and the sinking fund was depleted. And I'll show you what I mean in a second here. So if we had to do that the month prior, before we got another bonus / commission, then we would use this percentage. And the thought process behind that is we wanted to decrease our savings rate to increase the needs and wants, because what goes under the needs and wants also includes things like building up the sinking fund again. So if we depleted it, we want to make sure that we put more focus on replenishing it in that following month. So, and then the other thing was a 75-25 just for random cash. So any random cash as a gift or anything like that, we'll just do 75% needs, 25% wants on that. So yeah, that's about it. That's the only changes. So what we use here is we use Monarch Money to budget. I reconcile the budget at the end of the month. Every single month, I've been trying to keep myself honest on this. And so what you'll see is this piece in terms of left to budget, this isn't the income. So again, if you're not familiar with our first video, I said I wasn't going to do any or show any income numbers just for the sake of privacy in that regard. Okay. That 8,000, that's not the income. That's some of the fixed costs, some of the sinking funds that I'm tracking as well, and I'll show you all of that. Okay. So the main thing that we need to focus on is just the needs and the needs fixed costs, and then the wants and the variable costs. And I'll show you how I break that down here now. Okay. So in Monarch Money, I separated our expenses by needs and wants. Needs being fixed costs meaning things that you can't change, things that are there and they're going to be there no matter what. So things like a mortgage payment, for instance, you can't really take that off. You can't really decrease it because it is what it is. That's just what it's going to be. Okay. Things like electric, you always got to pay electric. You can't go a month without paying that. Well, I mean, you could, but we're not doing that. So it's electric, things like water, things that are really, really wants that are like necessities to live. That's how I classify them. So, kind of just running through this here, and I know you'll see this number here. So, with Monarch Money, you set your budget on what you think the number should be or could be, and then you basically connect every single account you have to Monarch Money. And the good thing is it pulls in all this data, all these transactions. And then what I do is I allocate each transaction as they come in. It may sound like a lot of work, but it's not. I've been doing this for a while now where it's very easy. It may take me 5-10 minutes. And I just allocate it as such, what I think it should be. And then it goes into this category. And then you'll see these numbers kind of go up or down and all of that. Okay. So we do have this big deficit here, but I'll go over that as well. So we do have an auto payment for my wife. Every month we pay about $631. So that's constant, right? So a lot of the finance bros will gasp at that, like, oh my goodness, an auto payment, a car payment that's over $600. This is one thing that we are trying to decrease. Okay, so hopefully, when this lease, because we do lease these vehicles just because that's where we're at in stage of our life. I know it'd be great to not have a car payment. You can define all my finance gurus. I understand that piece, but we pay about $631, and when the lease comes up to potentially get another car, we are hoping to decrease that or get a lower lease payment. So this is one bill that I'm looking toward in the future to hopefully decrease. Okay, but that's $631. Then groceries, I normally budget around $12.50, and that's all in. So that if we have to include like the paper products, paper towels, that also includes that in with the groceries. We went over a little bit on that at $16.78. Now the reason for that was because the way the month kind of landed up and my pay landed up. That's the only reason why we were typically why we increased this month. We have been pretty good with the groceries. Big shout out to my wife for that. So she's kind of been switching it up, going to Aldi's, going to a farmer's market for meat, kind of going to Trader Joe's for certain things. So, big shout outs to her with that. Because I know, grocery shopping now can be kind of a hassle here. So when you do have this like red number, this deficit here, what you want to do is you want to adjust it because you did use that money. This money is used. So, and then that'll bring this amount down, as you can see here. Okay. So our mortgage is $1187. That's what it is this year. Obviously with the escrow, it could go up and down. So that's always going to be constant, $1187. Okay. I do budget for vitamins and supplements about $175. We did pretty good in March. Stayed on task for that, $163. I'm not mad at that. We can adjust this as well. Okay. Our DT electric normally is around, it could be between 300 to 400. We are on a budget plan, so that's normally constant. So this month was our new reading. It came out to 302. Okay, so that was good. Brought down the bill a little bit. Here, we'll adjust this, and then I will tell Monarch Money to apply 302 to all future months. okay, for our electric. The next is my wife's esthetician tuition and business expenses. So what this is my wife wants to be a licensed esthetician, and she's taking classes for that. So every month we pay for that schooling. So that is where this budget at 475 comes from, because that's the monthly cost for that schooling, and then whatever amounts that she needs for her, for business expenses, maybe supplies for like facials and those type of things, I categorize that and I put that here into this category. And usually she pays for that out of her own, from what the business income was, or what the revenue was generated from that. She pays for that in for those business expenses. So we budgeted 475. She did have some business expenses and some supplies that she had to buy. So that came out to 856 for the month. Gas, I normally budget 250. I've been spot on with this, and I've been pretty surprised. So 261 is what we spent. To me, I'm good with that. That's not a lot. And this is for 2 cars. The gas is for 2 cars for what we budgeted, just as a heads up. Okay. Water, I normally pay around $80 here for that. So that one's on point here. My wife's nails, hair, and lashes, I budget normally $500 for that. Last month it was at $400, so we did save a little bit on there. That could be a variable expense as well. I just know that's always going to be constant. My wife's always going to get her nails, lashes. Sometimes her hair, she may go like a month, maybe every other month or so for the hair. But just so I know, when it's coming, it's normally going to be that amount, give or take per month. Internet for Comcast is about $130 a month. And we're locked into this price for a couple years as well. This seems to be the best price for the fastest internet I've seen. Somebody may have a better suggestion for that. Okay, AT&T phone. This is actually for 2 phones and an Apple Watch. Okay, and an Apple Watch for data. Okay, so our 2 youngest, they have a phone, and we recently just put that phone onto the AT&T plan. And then this is for my wife's phone. That's the second phone, and then her Apple Watch as well. My phone is covered by my employer, so I don't pay anything for my phone at all. Okay. Gym membership, only $18. I try to keep this very simple. I go to a very cost-effective gym. Why? Because I just need weights. It's not a big deal for me. Okay. So this was actually one area that we decreased in, I think maybe over the past 2 years or so, because we did have a membership at a very nice, lavish gym, but at the end of the day, all I need are weights, and that's what I basically need the gym for. So we were able to decrease our bill by almost 75-80%. It was actually pretty amazing. Auto insurance is around $550. It's gonna uptick. It's gonna go up just a little bit though, because we got a couple new cars. But the auto insurance is $550. This is for 3 vehicles. Okay, so just as a heads up, 3 vehicles is $551. Okay, it's for myself, my wife, and then our oldest, quote unquote, the grown child that's out of the house. She's on our insurance as well. So just as a heads up. So that's around $550. So when you do that calculation, it's actually not that bad when you divide it up by 3. Housing expense. This is actually for a debt that we have to pay. This piece is for the furniture. we have furniture that we did put on a store credit card, and the only reason that we put it on the store credit card was because there was no interest for that. It's like one of those furniture store credit cards where they give you no interest payments for 5 years or whatever it is. And what I did was I just divvied up the payments over those 60 months on what I needed to pay in an equal incremental value. So this encompasses that, and I believe this is also, let me just check. I'm checking on my phone here. This is also, we also had to put when we renovated our house, we did have to put a roof. We had to get a roof, and that was an unexpected expense. And honestly, that was before I knew a lot about financing. That was before we had an emergency fund and all of that. So we actually had to put that on credit. So we're actually trying to pay that down as well. Budget for haircuts for me and my son around $80 a month. We wound up kind of bypassing the haircuts for this month. Auto payment for me normally is $375. This will go up about $5 to $7 next month because again my lease went up, so I got a new car, and I did pretty good on the lease, so it didn't go up that much, and I was able to get a new car. But the reason why this is up this month is because I also had to update my tabs. So we had to update the tabs. That's only once a year. I knew that was coming. I saved for it. Not a big deal here. Okay. Consumer's energy, this is for gas. So gas is normally constant. This is around, I would say $80-$90 or so. So it came in at $89 for the month. And then last but not least, kids needs randomly. So this is at $100 because this is for our youngest with hip hop dance class, and then our middle with a trumpet rental that we have to pay. Both of those are $100 every month. This went up by over $1,000, and the reason it did was because we had our oldest birthday. So I incorporated again the transactions. This went to the kids transaction, even though our oldest is an adult. I still consider her kid, our kid, obviously, and I put all those transactions into the kids needs randomly bucket, if you will. So this incorporated our oldest birthday present. We also, in addition to that, our youngest will be turning one of those big ages, so we did have to rent a one of those trampoline places for the birthday, so we did have to put that cost down. Again, that was saved, and I'll show you where that was saved as well. In addition to that, what other things? We also had the dinner for our oldest as well, so all those pieces were in here. We did have to tap into the sinking funds for a couple of them, but this was all covered, okay? And I think the biggest thing is you have to understand where your money is going. You can't be surprised and say, and look up and say, oh my goodness, like where did all this money go? Okay. So the other thing is our wants and variable costs. So the wants and variable costs are things that change periodically throughout the month to month. You kind of can't gauge it. And with my budget, it's not to the T exactly, to the penny and cent. I usually give myself somewhat of a buffer, like around a $500 like variable. So just so you're aware, because I know a lot of people that do budgets on here, they put it right to the penny, and mine isn't like that at all. So family entertainment and eating out, this could be takeout, this could be drive-through, this could be restaurant, this could be going to the movies, anything like that with the family. I incorporate that here in this family entertainment eating out category. Usually I budget around $300, and I upped this, but we still kind of went above this to $493. $4.93 for the month, and that legit was all legitimate payments. We did order a decent amount of takeout there. Amazon purchases are normally about $5.50 a month or so. We went to $6.55. I don't see a lot of people for budgeting Amazon purchases. Maybe they don't do Amazon purchases, but for us, the subscribe and save, we are customers of, and it gets us every month. So that's majority of our Amazon purchases are those type of subscribe and save purchases. We do have the one-offs where my wife will buy something from Amazon, but most of the time it is that subscribe and save. Auto expenses for things like we have a car wash subscription that we've always paid $20 a month for. That's why you see me budgeting $20 in here. The reason why this is up this month is because I believe this was the month my wife, she got I believe we got windshield wipers for my wife here. So that was the reason for that. And we'll adjust that. And then subscriptions. So subscriptions, normally I'm on point. We were up 17 for that. Normally these subscriptions stay constant, but I believe, let me see. I think we had one subscription in here added. So normally we're about $92 a month, and that includes Disney. We have Netflix, we have Prime Video, and then we get our razors with a mail-in service as well. And then random, I don't budget because these are just things like a random trip to the ATM to grab money out, those type of things. It's like very odd purchases, going to 7-Eleven to pick up a candy bar or something like that. The reason why this is so much this month is specifically because of there were two things. So our oldest, her previous car had a very extensive repair that needed to be done on it. So we did loan our oldest some money to get that repair done. Okay, and that'll get paid back, but I still like to categorize that as a cost because that was taken out. Okay, so you have this, and then you also couple that in the fact of there was when I leased my vehicle, my new vehicle, I had to essentially sell the other vehicle off. So I had to let me start back. So the dealership that I got the new lease from, they wrote a check to help me get out of my old lease because I was turning it in several months ahead of time. So they kind of bought me out of that. I then had to cash that check and then write a cashier's check to my old lease to help make up the difference. I know that's a lot of going back and forth, but that's the only reason why this amount is this high. Normally, this amount is not this high. And you can see like random, like we're normally in the hundreds. We're never this high. So that's why this was like this. But again, for our oldest, we had that repair, and thankfully we had an emergency fund for that. So we tapped into that emergency fund, and that because that's what it's used for. And I actually felt really good about that because we didn't have to touch anything else. It was there, and that's why it was there. So that's why that number looks kind of ridiculous right now. And then last but not least is just some clothes and shopping. I'm not too upset at this. I know what this is for. This is the kids' clothes here. So this does leave a variance of over $1,300. But, and I know I said I typically have a $500 variance there. The reason is because there's a delay on our credit card transaction. So there's credit credit card transactions of, let me look in here, and I'm looking on my phone. We have credit card transactions of around about $950 that are just kind of chilling, pending right now. So with Monarch Money, if the transaction is pending from your credit card, it's not going to populate officially in your budget until it's cleared. So that's why this is so high right now, is because there's still transactions in March that are still pending on the credit card. So again, this is, if you subtract those amounts or those pending transactions from the credit card that we have, this makes up that variance that I typically have with the budget that I roll over to the next month. So